Hi, my name is Coretta Martin, and I am the co-founder of IEP&Me. Here at IEP&Me, we are working to create solutions to simplify the education experience for students with learning differences. One thing that we believe at IEP&Me is that it takes a village to raise a student, but we also know that it can be really hard to keep that village on the same page. I'm a former teacher, and when I taught elementary school, I used to love story time. So if you don't mind, give me just a minute because I'd love to tell you a story about a student named Jason. In the morning, when the sun started to rise, Jason woke up to the sound of his buzzing alarm clock. With a stretch and a smile, he began his day. His dad was already in the kitchen, cooking a delicious breakfast of sizzling bacon. Dad knew that Jason sometimes needed extra support, so he lovingly cut his food and poured his drink to make sure he had a great start to the day. But there were a few things that Dad didn't know yet. He hadn't talked to Jason's occupational therapist in a while, so he didn't have the most up to date information on how to help Jason with his fine motor skills. It's important for parents, like Dad, to have access to Jason's goals and Jason's accommodations so he can provide the right support at home. When Jason arrived at school, he was warmly greeted by his special education teacher, Miss Jenkins, and his aide, Mr. Jones. They were like a team, working together to help Jason have a successful day. Mr. Jones knew that Jason was getting better at following two step directions in the morning, but he didn't have a way to share this progress with Jason's speech teacher. It would be helpful if everyone in Jason's education could easily communicate and exchange information about his progress towards his goals. In the classroom, Jason worked on his individual education plan, or IEP goals, with Miss Jenkins. She knew that reading comprehension was a bit of a challenge for him, so she gave him extra attention and support. Together, they were able to make progress step by step. At lunchtime, though, Jason joined his classmates in the cafeteria, but the assistant principal on duty didn't know all the details of Jason's IEP. There were rules posted on the wall that Jason couldn't understand, and he needed assistance at the salad bar because of his fine motor needs. It would be so wonderful if everyone in the school, including the leaders, including the support staff, had quick access to Jason's IEP plans. That way, they could provide help during non academic moments as well. In the gymnasium, Jason enjoyed his physical education class, where he worked on his gross motor skills. Mr. Jones was there to guide and support him, but Mr. Smith, the gym teacher, didn't know much about autism. He missed most of the meetings because they coincided with his class time. It's important for all the teachers, even those who don't teach the core subjects, to be involved in Jason's IEP meetings. Their input and understanding can make a big difference in his overall school experience. Back in the classroom, Jason had a math test. His regular teacher was sick that day, and the substitute hadn't seen his accommodations. Jason needed frequent breaks during the test, but since he didn't know how to advocate for himself, he struggled to let the substitute know. It's crucial for students to have access to their own accommodations so they can be aware and advocate for their own needs. After a long day at school, Jason hopped on the school bus to go home. But, like what happens in many schools, the bus had a different provider who hadn't seen his IEP. The bus aide tried to help Jason buckle his seatbelt, but he already knew how to do that. Jason felt a little embarrassed. It's important for all the people involved in Jason's day, even outside providers, to have access to his IEP so they can provide consistent support. Finally, when Jason reached home, he spent time with his family. They were his biggest cheerleaders, helping him with homework and practicing social skills through conversations and games. Jason's mom even recorded a video of his progress and shared it with his homeroom teacher. Wouldn't it be great if there was a centralized place for parents to share information or upload videos with the whole team? As the day came to an end, Jason got ready for bed. His parents tucked him in and he read his mama story. With a happy heart, he said goodnight and drifted off to sleep. Jason's day was filled with ups and downs, but it was clear that when all the adults in his life worked together, when they all had access to his needs, they could solve the teamwork puzzle and make his journey brighter. The end. This story portrayed a typical day in the life of Jason, a 13-year-old boy with autism, and highlights the challenges many students in our schools face throughout the day due to a lack of communication and coordination between the many adults that support our learners. Throughout the day, Jason interacts with an entire village of people who love him, support him, and engage him in the learning experience. But because Jason has an individualized plan, while his special education teacher is doing their best, sometimes that's not enough. Jason's story identifies several issues, including a lack of access to IEP goals and accommodation for Jason's family, for school staff, the limited feedback and communication between the teachers and the therapists and the families, and difficulties for outside service providers who may not have access to school documents like the IEP. Here at IEP&Me, we are a team of former educators who want to help. We experience these problems day in and day out. So we created IEP&Me, a centralized platform that provides real-time access to IEP goals, accommodations, and communication tools for families, teachers, students, and outside providers to improve communication and support for students with disabilities. By using IEP&Me, families and educators can work together to ensure that students like Jason have the resources and support they need to succeed both at school and at home. I hope you're interested in learning more. Check us out at www.iepme.com, and I look forward to working with all of you.